Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Jason Yamamoto. Just got out the gym, and I get messages all the time about, hey, Jason, how do you build a better looking physique? How do you get a stronger body? And sometimes you guys have difficult times trying to get a good training partner or somebody to help you build that physique, you know? And here's the thing. You got to understand that you got to take the personal initiative and go out there and do this on your own, because honestly, man, you know, if you're out there trying to look better, you got to understand that this is a personal thing you got to do, and unless you get a coach, okay, unless you purchase a coach, it's going to be rare to find somebody who's going to help you build that physique. Now, you got to understand as well that you got to have good nutrition, good rest plans, and good training plans in order to build a really strong looking physique. All right. You also have to have the mentality that this is a long-term process. That if you're not willing to invest between 5 to 10 years to building a good looking physique, you're not gonna make it anywhere. Okay. So what that means is, when you're looking at the time frame, you might be disappointed if you're not getting the results that you want in your first or second or even third year, right? You're not really getting the results, and good quality results, matter of fact, until your 5th year. And that's for a lot of serious lifters, and that's what they have said personally. A lot of people who I've trained with, etc., etc. There's some people who are lucky enough to get their physique that they wanted in 2 years because of their genetics. But for people who didn't have the genetics and they're working their way up, they said between 3 to 5 years, that's when they saw their desired physical physique getting built up. Now, sorry for the stumbleness. Now, check this out. So, what I mean by having a good training plan, you got to understand that you got to have at least 5 to 6 days worth of training. And if you want to have a really strong looking physique, you have to break down your muscle groups and concentrate on them. Normally, on each day, let's say if it's chest and tricep day, for me, I would hit about 10 sets heavy compound, well, 10 to 12 sets, or even sometimes 16 sets on heavy compound on chest, and I work the entirety of the chest, up, middle, and bottom, right? And then and I would finish off with a body weight exercises, but yet still a heavy compound movement like dips. So normally I would use the regular bench press, incline bench press, decline bench press, and knock it off at the end with dips, and then I'll work on some accessories like tricep extensions or chest flies, right? That way it can get that isolation going on. Let me see what else. If it's back day, back and biceps, obviously I'll hit all the necessary back exercises like deadlifts, rowing movements, cable rows or bent over rows, pin leg rows, pull-ups, and then at the end I'll just do some bicep curls, Same thing for squats, man. I'll just hit squats like pretty much 10 to like 15 sets worth of squats, and then I'll knock it out with leg extensions and hamstring curls, right? Let me see what else. When it comes to shoulders, overhead presses, man, knock out like 8 to 10 sets, lightweight, or increase some strength on there, do some heavy work sets on there, and then knock it out with some shoulder presses or some front raises, rear delt flies, and side raises. You gotta understand that isolation, it always falls at the end. I mean, unless you're an advanced lifter, that you already invested like 5 to 10 years already, and you need to concentrate on a certain muscle group, that's for you guys. But what we're talking about people who are struggling building muscles, right? Always hit the heavy compound movements first, and then you follow it up with some accessory movements, some isolation exercises to go ahead and shape those muscles that you desire to. Never hit the isolation movements and then compound movements. I'd rather save all my energy for the heavy compound movements and then finish off with the isolation movements, alright? That's just me though. Get that last bit of pump in there. You gotta get some rest, man. You gotta understand that once you train like 3-4 weeks, you gotta take a week off or a few days, depending on your activity levels. Some people are hard labor workers, some people aren't. Some people do a lot, some people don't. You know, it all depends on what you do and who you are. But you gotta also remember that if you're training, it also takes up CNS in the mind. When your CNS is draining the mind, it's hard for you to concentrate if you're a student. If you're a student or like a manager or somebody very important, it's very hard to concentrate if you're drained up most of your CNS. All right. But then again, with more training, you build up more CNS tolerance, and then essentially you can go heavier and longer. But that takes time, and sometimes when you're doing something important, that time when you're building that CNS strength, it might not actually be beneficial. It might actually be a backlash, and it could also affect your life and career. Okay, so that's that. So to make sure you get about 6 to 9 hours of sleep per day. Try to get a few naps whenever you can. And also, I'm going to give you guys last bit of tip on your nutrition. You can always track your macros on myfitnesspal.com or on the application on your iPhone or Android. But what it really worked out for me is that if you learn how to look at your macros and you know what's really good for your body, if you know how to recomp, if you know how to indicate what's going to be working out for you, I would highly suggest that. But what really works out for me is a pre-workout meal, post-workout meal, and then those two things, I advocate that those are the best ways to get your meals in. Right before your workout, you get a light meal in, right? And after your workout, get your heavy meal in. And whatever meals left you have to do. But for me, I always make sure I always get between 4 to 5 to 6 meals a day. 4 to 6 meals, okay? Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, what is 4 to 6 meals? Honestly, if you're tracking your macros and you're either maintaining or bulking, that's what most people are trying to do when they're building muscles, right? It's equivalent to 4 to 6 meals. And sometimes you can't eat all your meals, at once. All right, that's just me. If I eat too much, I get food coma. So I have to kind of break it down a little bit. It's nothing like in particular about metabolism or anything. It's just for the fact that if you are going to go work out, make sure you get a meal in before, and then have your insulin rise. And then when you're working out, boom, 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 the insulin gets activated, and then it restores all of your energy levels, right? And then right after your workout, when your blood sugar has been depleted, you get all that extra food again, and then you're replenished again to continue your day's activities or whatnot, or just in your day's in your day. So that's all I have for right now, man. So if you guys are struggling building muscle, you gotta understand that these are your 3 main components. And if you're looking at to become the strongest version of yourself, just make sure that whatever you're doing, keep an eye out on your heavy compound movements, your resting, and those 2 things, what I said about the meals, right? Pre-workout and post-workout, all right? I mean, your last meal of the day could be your post-workout, I've seen people do that. For me, my pre-workout is usually my breakfast, and then boom, train, and then right after that is my first lunch. I have 2 lunches. I got first lunch and second lunch. So anyways, it's your boy Jason Yamamoto. If you guys got any questions or comments, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Nice. Breathe.